Hello, welcome to Pilates. I'm going to say just a little bit about Pilates before we start, in case you have not taken a Pilates class before. If you regularly do Pilates, you could just skip ahead a little bit to the actual movements. But I just wanted to give a little introduction in case you haven't taken Pilates before. Pilates focuses on stretching, on strengthening the body, with a big focus on breathing, and also body awareness and also relaxation. So you'll see there are a lot of different elements. Movement form that you can do in many, many levels. So I'll try throughout the class to demonstrate basic levels, going from simplest to more challenging. And I would also like to say that it's really helpful to not have the idea that any pain is okay. So if you try something and it's not comfortable, then you would want to stop, and then we could figure out an alternative approach or a different modification. So we always start Pilates in this class lying down. And what I'm going to do is when I get down on the mat, I'm going to focus on my shoulder blades, because it's very easy for the shoulder blades to go up, be up, held up with tension in the shoulders, and then the shoulders are hunched too close to the ears. So we want to lower the shoulder blades as if you could pull those shoulder blades right down into your back pockets. And then you want to just become aware of how your body is positioned on the mat. Hopefully your mat has a little cushioning, so it's not hard. You want to feel the back of your head sinking into the mat. Your arms are kind of loose, lying by your side. Your fingers are also a little bit open and soft. Elbows kind of relaxing into the mat. Your feet are lined up about hip distance, width apart, or maybe a little bit wider if that's more comfortable. You should be able to feel there's a little tiny arch in the lower back where you could stick a few fingers underneath there. We're not at this point flattening the back against the mat. We just want those natural curves. And so once we get the tension out as much as we can, check our alignment, and then start really noticing the breath. Breath goes in through the nose, filling the rib cage as widely as you can, and then we breathe out through the mouth, sort of pursed lips. And when that breath comes out, we want to engage the abs. So now, on that exhale, I could feel my abs engaging. I'm trying to pull my belly button as if it could go right to my spine. And it's going up a little bit also toward the ribs. So it's just big breath in, relax, filling the lungs. And on the exhale, some exertion, abs engaged. That's where the work is. So we'll just breathe for a little bit, just taking your time. You don't want it to be fast. This is kind of slow breathing. Okay, the next thing that's going to happen is we're going to do what's called imprinting. And this is an almost invisible movement. I'm just going to tip my tailbone so slightly that I'm pressing each vertebra down into the mat. I'm going to progress up my spine as much as I can until I get as high as I can go, pressing the spine into the mat, and then I'm going to start releasing it. This is all really subtle. There's not much to see. When you add the breathing to it, you can take a big inhale before you get started, and then on the exhale, tip the tailbone just slightly and press the spine down. Now this is when we do flatten the spine against the mat. And then release. So you can continue at your own pace just for a minute. Make sure you can see me. There we go. Maybe that's better. Okay. So after you finish your last imprinting series, then what we're going to do is just use one leg and let one knee just drop, keeping everything else relaxed and still. One knee drops down toward the floor. I'm doing it slowly, and then I'm going to engage the inner thigh muscles to bring it back. Everything else in my body is not moving, then the other knee goes out. So there's just a little stretch. Okay, and you can also do this if you want to. It's more challenging, but you can also do this move with both knees going. You just want to make sure your shoulder blades stay on the mat and that you are not feeling anything uncomfortable in your lower back. It should be a comfortable stretch. So again, one knee at a time is a good variation. It's harder to do it slowly. It takes more control. When you finish your last one, then we're just going to put one hand on the kneecap. It's called knee fold or knee stir. I'm just circling it around. One thing, the traditional Pilates movements are more complex movements than this. What we're doing is what's called the fundamentals. Let's circle the other way. The fundamentals are little movements like this broken down that isolate different parts of the body that we're going to use in the Pilates movements. Let's do the other hand. In other words, right now, we're just kind of isolating the hip joint. We're just gently moving it and warming it up. And let's circle the other way too. I'm not pressing down, I'm just guiding my knee around. Okay, now we're going to try to isolate the upper body, engage the abs, and just, this is called leg slide. So I'm just going to extend my leg and flex my foot. I'm sorry you can't see that. And come back up. I'll move a little bit. So all it is upper body's relaxed, not moving. Abs contracted and the leg is coming in. Now you can start doing this by sliding your heel right on the mat like this. If that gets very, very easy to do even slowly, then you can just let your foot be up in the air slightly while you extend it. Flex the foot and bring it back. Okay, now we're getting into a bigger movement. I'm sure you know it's called bridging. We're going to do it by taking a big breath in. And on the exhale, we're going to peel the spine off the mat, just like we did in the imprinting, but now it's a bigger movement. The spine is coming off the mat. So the weight's in the shoulders and the weight is in the heels. Abs are pulling in very strongly and glutes are contracting. And you can stay up here or you can come right back down. You can experiment with that, how you want to do it. I'll show you some other variations that are more challenging. So let's keep doing the bridging. One thing you can do, keeping the glutes contracted and the abs contracted, is you can just lift one leg, putting the knees about the same height, level, and just alternate legs. There are a lot of different ways you can do this. You can stay up here and just pick up one foot and the other foot, but the main point of this is that the glutes and the abs are working. That's really our target. And we're gonna, every time you come down, try to peel the spine or lay the spine back down. And when you come up, on that exhale, bring it up just bit by bit by bit. And then lay it back down. So you'll be doing those whichever way works for you the best. The next movement we're going to do is so tiny you can hardly tell you're doing it. It's called nose circles. I'm going to pretend there's a giant pencil on the tip of my nose that goes all the way to the ceiling. I'm going to draw little circles on the ceiling with that pencil. So I'm just circling my nose. Everything else, our goal is everything else is relaxed. Let's circle the other way too. Okay, and when you finish your last nose circle, then we are gonna do a couple things for our shoulders. We're gonna turn the palms to the ceiling. The arms are gonna circle out. I'm like stretching my fingertips out as far as I can get them to go. They're gonna reach all the way overhead to the wall behind me. Then fingertips come up to the ceiling. So my shoulders are popped off the mat, then they come back down. These are called rib cage arms or angel arms. Up they go. Just a few, and then we're going to reverse it. So let's stop when your hands are down by your side. Then we'll take them up to the ceiling first. Drop overhead, and then when they swing around, hands are perpendicular to the floor. Good, and they're not really dragging on the ground. I've got my arms a couple inches off the floor, I would guess. One more if you want. Okay, then there's another little movement for the arms, another little warm-up movement. I have one palm to the ceiling, one to the floor. Just switch and switch and switch and switch and switch and switch. Next thing we're going to do is roll over onto our sides, and from there we're just going to roll right over onto our tummies, where there's just a few things for the upper back we want to do that will get that prepared for the Pilates mat work. First thing is called flight. Hands are by our sides. All this, I have my feet, my toes touching, my heels touching, and my knees touching. All I'm going to do is engage my upper back muscles to lift my chest off the mat. And I'm going to turn my head so that my nose is pointing down toward the mat. In other words, I'm not bending my neck. So it's just lift up. And if your feet pop off the floor, that's fine. And come down. When you come down, you want to relax. And lift up. And come down. And lift up. You can hold this up as long as you want. It kind of will just be your call. Okay, let's make that the last one. Then we're going to go back into child pose. And there are lots of variations of child pose. You can pick what is most comfortable for you, which kind. You could do it with your knees apart and feet together, with hands either by your feet or overhead. Nice breathing. And then after you are done with the child pose, we're going to go right into hands and knees for the cat. The cat, we're going to drop the chin into the chest, arch the back up to the ceiling, and pull the belly button in as strongly as we can. Stretch, stretch, stretch. And then we're going to drop the belly toward the mat and take the top of the head and the tailbone to the ceiling. And then we'll reverse it. Chin to chest, back arching up, belly button in. And once more the other way. And then we're going to, using our hands for support, we're just going to turn ourselves around and get back on the mat in that position where we started, our relaxation position. So again, we're going to take a minute. Make sure that the shoulder blades are down, that the feet are lined up pretty much with the hips. Arms are by our sides. Now, at this time, you have some options about your head. One, it's fine to have your head on the mat. You may find that you're more comfortable if you put a little pillow under here or a little towel. You can just experiment with that and see what feels best to you. During a lot of the Pilates mat work exercises that we're about to do, they can be done either with the head on the floor or with the chin lifted. You want about a fist, the size of a fist between your chest and your chin. This is more challenging. You'll mostly see me do the exercises with my head on the floor because for me that's more comfortable, but you may find that this is a good challenge for you. Okay, so for the hundreds, there's so many ways to do it. If you already know, just start, please. But I'm going to show, again, leg variations. Variation 1, you just have one foot up. Variation 2, you have both feet here. You're going to be wanting to have your abs engaged while you do all these. Another leg choice is here with the legs straight. Most challenging is with the legs lowered, okay? And the arms are going to be long with energy going through them, fingers spread wide apart, and they're sort of beating like they're slapping the water, okay? The breath is going to be 5 breaths in through the nose and 5 breaths out through the mouth. And we're going to do that for 100 times. But of course, you'll stop anytime you want. Here we go. In 2, 3, 4, 5, out 2, 3, 4, 5, in 2, 3, 4, 5, out 2, 3, 4, 5, in 2, 3, 4, 5, out 2, 3, 4, 5, in 2, 3, 4, 5, out 2, 3, 4, 5, in 2, 3, 4, 5, out 2, 3, that's 50, in 2, 3, 4, 5, out 2, 3, 4, 5, in 2, 3, 4, 5, out 2, 3, 4, 5, in 2, 3, 4, 5, out 2, 3, 4, 5, in 2, 3, 4, 5, out 2, 3, 4, 5, in 2, 3, 4, 5, out 2, 3, last set, in 2, 3, 4, 5, out 2, 3, and rest. And of course you would stop anytime before that you need to. You can always take a break and join back in, or you can just take a break. I like to do a little bit of rocking side to side afterwards. You can experiment with that. Okay, I was showing you different ways to hold your legs, but you'll just figure out how you want to start and progress. So now my working leg is going to be up in the air, and my resting leg is going to be on the floor. Now I'm doing it with my knee bent. That is a more supported position and easier to do. If your back is strong on your abs, you can do the same movement with the leg long. You want to put your fingertips on your hip bones because our goal here is to engage the abs so much that when the leg circles, the pelvis stays still. That means your abs are working. So I'm circling my left leg across my right knee. And I'm feeling here that everything is still. The weight of my leg is not making my hips rock around. Okay, let's change legs. Now also on the leg circles, you can inhale at the top when your foot is at the top, and then exhale as you go around. I wouldn't worry about this, but it's something else you can do while you're doing the leg circles. And you can do them very small. You can make big and slow leg circles also. You can try different things. It may seem like a leg exercise, but it's actually also a lot about the abs. Let's change legs, go back to our first leg. Now this leg is going away from my body, so it's going counterclockwise. And again, I have to work even harder to keep the pelvis still. Okay, let's change legs. And now my other leg, my right leg is going clockwise and it's going away from my body. It's less supported. It feels a little heavier. My abs are working harder. Okay, last one. We'll put both feet down. And then we're going to pull one knee in to the shoulder. I'm pulling my right knee in. This is called, I'm just going to look up the name of it. It's called single leg stretch. So my right knee is in. Again, there are choices for your their head. You can have your head up on almost all of these or down. And for the leg choices, you can do it with your leg on the floor. With the knee that's not coming in can be here, or it can be straight up toward the ceiling. More challenging will be the lower you make the other leg. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to switch and inhale and exhale. My hands are like guides. Left hand outside the knee, right hand by the ankle. So I just make sure I steer my knee into my shoulder. Here we go. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Or you can do it like this. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Last one, inhale, exhale, then again knees in, a little bit of rocking. And of course you can go longer or you can stop sooner. Okay, next thing we're going to do double leg stretch. So now my hands are by my ankles. Both legs go at the same time. Everything opens on the inhale, everything closes on the exhale. Here we go. Inhale, exhale, or head up if you want. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. More if you want. Inhale, exhale, stop when you're ready. Inhale, exhale. And now I'm going to stop and pull knees into the shoulders. A little bit of rocking. Okay, now there is a series of about 4 that we're going to do that are for the upper back. So we're going to take a moment to slowly, carefully roll over. And we're going to go on our tummies. We're going to first do the swan, or a version of the swan, which is again for the upper back. And all we're going to do for the swan is place the hands under the shoulders on the mat. And when we lift the chest, the hands are going to come off the mat. We don't want them to give us any support. We want the upper back to do all the work. I've got my knees touching, feet touching, heels and toes both touching. And my feet are going to probably rise up when I lift my chest. That's fine. You don't have to though. So it's just get ready and lift up. Upper back. And then come back down and relax. We'll just do this a few times. I'm turning my head so that my nose is pointing down to the mat. I'm trying to keep my neck straight. Like this. You might see me looking around to see the screen, but hopefully when you do this, your eyes are looking down at the mat. You could do, a number of these, and then when you're ready, I think now actually we'll stop and we're going to go into child pose. In general, the principle is if we arch the back one way, then we want to curl it the opposite way. So we'll just curl into child pose for just a minute. As soon as you're finished with child pose, then come on back onto your tummy. There are 2 more here that we're going to do. And that is The single leg kick has elbows spread wide, fingers interlaced, and I'm making sort of a triangle with my arms. So I'm straight, my arms are pretty much straight over my elbows. I'm not sinking down into my shoulders. I'm trying to lift my upper body long. So, and I'm also trying to visualize that if it were possible to just pull at the top of my head to extend the spine in one nice long line, that's what I want to do, is find that lengthening here. So we're going to try to hold this frame. And while we're doing that, we're going to move flicks. I better move up so you can see better. What's going to happen along with this extending the spine, lifting in the shoulders, we're going to go point the foot, flex the foot, come down, other foot, point, flex, down, point, flex. Now, while we're doing that though, we don't want to sink down in the shoulders or lose the sort of tension of extending the spine. Point, flex, down, 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 point, flex, down. Last one, point, flex, down. Okay, now we're going to do the double leg kick. So for that, we're going to turn the head to one side on the mat, interlace the fingers, this time on the tailbone. We are going to pull the hands toward our feet and engage the upper back to lift the chest off the mat. And at the same time, we're going to lift the feet. So we're making sort of a curved shape, kind of like a saucer that's up on the edges, or maybe like a canoe. So it goes like this. Point the feet, flex the feet, come on up. And you want to keep looking down at the mat so your neck is long. And then relax. You kind of figure out the timing. Point the feet, flex the feet, come up, and relax. Point the feet, flex the feet, come on up. We want to be sure to do exercises that strengthen the upper back. Flex the feet, come up, since so many activities cause us to bend forward. Point the feet, flex the feet, lift up. One more maybe. Point, flex, lift. And now we go into child pose, any kind. There are a few more things I'd like to review. I want to show some different levels of the plank, which you may already know from other classes. But the plank is where it engages the whole body, really. You can either do it on your elbows or with your full arm. Okay, so I'm going to start with the simplest. The idea is that from your head to your knees is one straight line. So you want to make sure you're not bent. The idea is straight head to knees. Okay, so this would be level one. It would be elbows and knees, like that, as straight as you can make. Or you can do with your elbows, you can do with full arms. Okay, then using your whole body. I find this a little more difficult, but some people really like this position better, which is elbows and the whole body in plank position. Abs pulling in, glutes, everything is working here, and breathing. Or you can do it this way. Whichever way you pick, it's important to try to have the best form that you can. And even if you're only there for 3 seconds, that's okay, because it will get that time will extend the more you do it. Okay, after plank, back to child pose. Okay, now we're gonna range our body in a different position. We're gonna line up our body on the back side of the mat, the back edge, and then angle the legs sort of toward the front corner. And you can either have your head down here or up here, whatever you like best. I've got my feet together and I'm trying to make sure my top hip is over my bottom hip. It's not, leaning backwards or forwards. It's just, they're just right on top of each other. Then I'm going to take my top foot straight. Oh, I see. You can't see. Let me fix that. Okay. Let's try again. Top foot, feet parallel and down, as if I were like stretching a big rubber band between my feet. So probably your range of motion won't be as big this way, keeping the feet parallel. Now I'm going to put the toes apart and put the heels together so there's a turnout. I'm going to do the same thing with a pointed toe going up and then flexing the foot to drag it down. So it just flies up and down. Okay, let's let the leg rest for just a minute. One thing we can do is little leg circles. You can make them really small. I mean, you can make bigger ones if you want, but you want to kind of make sure your abs are working and that your body's staying still. Let's stop for a second and let's circle backwards. Good. Okay, let's put the feet down. Now let's put the top leg hip width apart, the feet hip width apart. I'm flexing that top foot and it's going to swing forward and pulse. So pulse and then swing back. I'm pointing my foot. Pulse forward. It's hard to tell, but I'm trying to keep my foot the same distance from the floor all the way around. Okay, let's go ahead and do the other side. So you can either just roll over or just turn yourself on the mat. Lying down on the edge of the mat, feet angling toward, oh, now I have to move it the other way. Feet angling forward, top hip on the top, not rolled back. This hand is for support, but I try not to use it too much. Again, the stronger my abs are, the less support I need here with my arms. So we'll start with the feet parallel, top foot, toes forward. Okay, now we're going to do, now we'll do the toes apart and heels together, pointed toe up, flexed foot down. Just so easy. And of course you can decide how many of these you want to do and how vigorously. Now we'll do a few leg circles forward. And some leg circles backwards. Let the leg rest for a sec. Now let's pick that top foot up so it's the hip distance apart. Flex foot forward and pointed toe back. Now you are going to lean forward on your hand on this one. I'm not doing all of the side leg exercises today. This is a sampling. Last one. Okay, let's now roll onto hands and knees. There's a balance exercise that's really a good balance builder that we can do before we stand up. So I'm putting my knees under my hips as much as I can, hands under shoulders. I'm just extending my leg hip height, and then the opposite arm. And I'm pulling in my abs. And all that little wobbling, that's fine. That means you're working on your balance. And let's do the other side. I'm going to show you some optional things you can do if you want when you're doing this balance on hands and knees. Some people like to pulse the foot and the arm, or you can bring them in and extend them. It's up to you. Let's do the other side now. So I like to put my leg out first, then my hand. If you're going to add movement, you can. Or this kind, the in and out, or just staying here. It's all building your balance. Okay, there's one more we're going to do before we stand up, and that's a Pilates kind of swimming, I call it. And the idea is it's a really good diagonal stretch. So I'm on my tummy here. I'm just going to pick up, it's very similar, but we're on our stomachs now. Pick up on one leg and the opposite arm, and then switch to the other side, and switch and switch. So I'm getting a stretch and a lift diagonally. You can also do this very fast, but right now, in the interest of time, we're going to go back to child pose. And then when you're ready, you're going to come on up to standing. There are actually a lot of standing Pilates exercises. We're only going to do a tiny few. So I'm going to adjust this so you can see me standing up. Okay, so we want to take, once we get up, we want to take a minute to feel our feet. I'm kind of gripping with my toes lightly. I feel the weight of my body also in my heels. I feel the sides of my feet touching the floor. I feel there's that little arch in the middle. And I'm trying to feel that my body is lined up, head on top of torso, on top of hips, on top of feet. And then once we get comfortable in that position, it will just shift all the weight into one foot. Now I'm gripping more vigorously with that foot. I'm going to give you some options. One way to start balancing here is just tap lift, tap lift, tap lift. If that feels very easy, you can just keep the foot up in the air. When that becomes easy, you can extend and bend. So we'll do some form of standing on one leg. You can pick which one. And now let's do the other foot. So we'll take a minute to grip with the toes, feel the weight transferring into that other foot, sides of the feet, little arch. Staring at something really can help a lot. You can go tap lift. You can feel that standing leg working, or you can just hold it here, or you can extend, bend. Focus is on the standing leg, really. Okay, let's put both feet down. I want to do a standing plank that I learned from Bonnie. Leg goes out at a diagonal. I'm pointing my foot. I'm putting my arm up. Whoops. Let me fix that. At a diagonal. And then I'm just picking my toe up off the floor. It does not have to be off the floor more than ½ an inch for you to get the benefit of this. So abs are engaged. This is plank, whole body working. Sometimes people like to add an arm. You can decide if you like that. Okay, let's change sides. See if I can fix this a little better. There. Okay, so my foot's out to one side, diagonal arm, and just toe comes up. That's all there is. Diagonal line, and I could feel kind of a line from my raised arm all the way down through my extended leg. Okay, good. Let's shake it all out. One more thing I think we have time to do. I'm going to try to make this better. Okay. Leg circles. We did leg circles lying down. We did leg circles lying on our backs. We did leg circles lying on our side. We can also do them on the floor. You can't quite see my feet yet. Let's see. Okay, so again, this is balance. I'm putting all my weight into one foot. With the other foot, I can draw circles on the floor, but the weight is here. I'm not putting any weight in this circling foot, or I can make my circles go like this, where they brush the floor for support and then up. Or you can make your leg circles up here. Try to notice which direction your foot is going. Abs contracted, lifting the body, weight in that one leg. Let's do the same thing on the other side. Taking a minute to grip with the toes and shift the weight. Find a spot to look at. Then you have your choice of circles here, circles here, circles here. You might notice which direction that leg is going. Okay, now let's go back to the first leg, and we're going to circle it the opposite way. This way, or this way, or this way. Okay, and let's do the other leg. Taking a minute with the foot to get settled and kind of lifting up through the standing leg. We don't want to sink down into that hip. We want to be standing up straight. And then circle your foot the opposite direction from what you did before. Just showing choices. Okay, let's come on down. And I think that's enough standing for now. We're going to spread it. If you had to move your mat, you're going to get it back. And before you get into your relaxation position, there's just one more stretch I'd like us to do. And that stretch would be arms overhead, feet stretching out the other way, and then point your toes, reach the fingers, extend the body as long as you can possibly make it, arching the back, and then just relax. And then stretch again, long, 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 long. Relax. And then we're gonna find our position of relaxation. Shoulder blades adjusting. Now, if your position of relaxation is not this, that's fine too. If it's child pose, or if it's the whole body flat on the mat, that's fine. But we want to kind of just check in and make sure everything is in alignment. A lot of Pilates, I think, effort is not only stretching and strengthening, but also body awareness. To feel the body and become aware of it, and also become aware of how we're moving it. So we'll take a minute to position the body in relaxation pose. And we want to kind of just check in on different areas where there could be tension and make sure we're loosening things as much as we can. So is there a little natural arch in the back? Is the neck comfortable? Is the head sinking down into the mat? Are the fingers a little bit soft and open? Arms soft? Are the feet relaxed? Can you feel that the legs are in a comfortable bent position and that the feet are about hip distance apart or maybe a little more? How about the jaw? Is the jaw relaxed? Forehead? Just do a little check. Is everything comfortable? And then when we get to that place, then we can just add our attention going to the breathing. We want to really feel how much we can extend the rib cage to let more air in. There's a little more space between the ribs when we breathe in. And then when we exhale, let the air really come out. Longer, slower breathing, really helpful to us. So we rest after exertion. Just fill our bodies with oxygen. If you're doing this at home, of course, you'll do on your own timing. When you are ready to get up, it's a good idea to turn onto one side slowly first, then maybe stay there just for a moment or longer if you want, and then use your hands and your arms to push you back up to sitting. And just take a moment to enjoy having had a Pilates session.